A woman tells her two children, if your father were alive, he would have brought you Christmas gifts. What a biker did next left everyone shocked. Asterisk snow pressed softly against the diner windows like the world itself was holding its breath. And inside Mabel's Lantern Diner, the warmth felt borrowed rather than owned. The woman sat stiffly in the cracked red booth, her jacket torn at the sleeve, her knuckles bruised, her cheek marked by a fading purple shadow she hadn't bothered to hide. She held a small paper bag against her chest as if it were something precious, though it only contained leftovers she'd asked for with trembling politeness. Her two children sat beside her, legs not quite touching the floor, eyes fixed on the twinkling Christmas lights strung along the ceiling. The little boy clutched nothing at all, while the girl hugged a worn stuffed reindeer so tightly it seemed strained. Outside, engines rumbled, dozens of motorcycles lined the parking lot, their chrome reflecting the snowfall like stars fallen to earth. The sound alone made the woman tense. She leaned down toward her children, her voice low, careful, heavy with a truth that hurt to speak. If your father were alive, she said softly, forcing a smile that cracked at the edges, he would have brought you Christmas gifts. The boy swallowed hard, pretending to be brave. The girl's eyes filled, but she didn't cry. She had learned, far too young, that crying didn't change anything. At the counter, a few diners fell silent. Forks paused mid-air. They weren't trying to listen, but pain has a way of carrying. Near the entrance, a massive biker stood up slowly. He was broad-shouldered, gray-bearded, wearing a leather vest worn thin by years of road and weather. His boots thudded once against the floor as he turned, the patch on his chest catching the light. He had been laughing moments earlier with his crew, but now his face was carved from stone. He watched the woman tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear, watched the way her hands shook as she pulled the paper bag closer, watched the children pretending not to notice the other families opening gifts at nearby tables. The waitress passed by, offering coffee refills, her eyes lingering on the kids, then flicking nervously toward the bikers as if bracing for trouble. The woman reached into her pocket, counted a few crumpled bills twice, then slid them onto the table with quiet apology in her eyes. She hadn't ordered dessert. She hadn't ordered anything extra. Christmas was a word she couldn't afford. The biker took a step forward, then stopped. His crew noticed, the laughter dying behind him. Outside, headlights glowed like a wall of judgment. Inside, the diner felt smaller, tighter, every breath loud. The woman stood, gathering the children's coats. Come on, she whispered, trying to sound cheerful. We'll go look at the lights outside. The boy nodded. The girl hesitated, glancing once more at the tree near the counter, its ornaments shining with promises meant for other kids. That was when the biker moved. Chairs scraped. Conversations died completely. The woman froze, fear flashing across her face as the shadow of the man fell over their table. She pulled the children closer instinctively, bracing herself for whatever came next. She had learned not to expect kindness from men who looked like this, from situations like this, from a world that had already taken her husband and left her counting coins in a diner on Christmas Eve. The biker looked down at the children, then at the woman, and for a moment no one spoke. Snow kept falling outside. Engines kept idling, and something unspoken, heavy and electric, settled over the room because everyone could feel that what happened next would not be forgotten. The biker finally spoke, and his voice was low, steady, nothing like the roar of the engines outside. Ma'am, he said, removing his gloves slowly, what was your husband's name? The question caught her off guard. She blinked, confused, defensive, then answered quietly. The name seemed to echo in the biker's chest. He nodded once, as if committing it to memory, then crouched slightly so he was eye level with the children. The little boy stiffened, but the man smiled, not wide, not forced, just real. Your dad, the biker said gently, sounds like he was a good man. The woman's eyes burned. Before she could respond, the biker stood and turned toward the diner. Hey, he called out, his voice carrying authority without shouting. You all listening? Every head turned. Even the cook leaned out from the kitchen. This family's eating with us tonight, he said, and they're not leaving empty-handed. A murmur rippled through the room. The woman shook her head, panic rising. Sir, I can't. He raised a hand kindly. You don't have to, he said. Then he turned toward the window and lifted his arm. Outside, like a choreographed miracle, engines shut off one by one. Bikers dismounted, opening saddlebags, reaching into pockets, pulling out wrapped packages, toys still in boxers, teddy bears, action figures, dolls, things they had bought for a charity ride earlier that night. One by one, they filed into the diner, snow clinging to their jackets, placing gifts gently on the woman's table. The little girl gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. The boy's eyes went wide, disbelief cracking into hope. The waitress started crying openly. The woman collapsed back into the booth, tears streaming freely now. Her guard finally shattered. The biker knelt again, setting a small box in front of the children. From your dad, he said softly. He asked us to help. The woman covered her face, sobbing, the paper bag forgotten on the floor. Diners reached into wallets, paying tabs that weren't theirs, adding coats, scarves, gift cards. The cook came out carrying hot chocolate topped with marshmallows, refusing payment. For a moment, the diner wasn't just a diner. was a shelter, a family, a reminder that strangers can become miracles. The biker stood, placing a gentle hand over his heart. Christmas isn't about what you can afford, he said. It's about showing up. Outside, the snow seemed lighter somehow. The children laughed, tearing wrapping paper, their joy ringing louder than any engine ever could. When the family finally stood to leave, they weren't alone. The bikers formed a line, creating a corridor of nods and quiet respect. The woman looked up at the bearded man one last time. "I'll never forget this," she whispered. He shook his head. "You already paid us back," he said, glancing at the children. "That's enough." As the door closed behind them, the diner exhaled as one, and long after the bikes rode away, the story stayed passed from table to table. Year to year, a reminder that sometimes, when hope feels gone, it roars back on two wheels. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you believe in kindness again, subscribe to the channel right now, because stories like this deserve to be shared, and you deserve to hear them first.